Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hard Talk with me, Kofi Asante Mensah, on EP Radio TV. Well, today I have the IT Director for the Opposition National Democratic Congress, Mr. Osei Griffiths. We are going to find out the reasons why they are on the streets protesting against the new voter register. The EC is bent on, and I must say, the party in power really bent on organizing Ghanaians to register for the December polls. The opposition NDC with some other political parties are opposing it, and today we'll be finding out their reasons. Once again, it's Kofi Asante Mensah on Hard Talk. We are live on EP Radio TV, on all our social media handles. We are also live on GoTV channel 821. You can also download our mobile app, and that is 2C TV. Welcome.
Research has shown that nearly half of the world's workforce comprises of women. So it is time, it is needed, it is my calling. World Women in Business show is created to inspire, to empower women to be financially free, to be bold, to be creative, to be daring. One of my greatest challenges is the battle against poverty. Fear of success, fear of rejection, fear of failure. Now I understand it's necessary. Necessary to be different, necessary to be unique. My mission is to empower over 1 million women to discover their purpose, pursue their dreams, and live their destiny. This is why you have to join Queen Favor and my special guests as we discuss capacity building, financial emancipation, financial evangelism, confidence, creativity in business, how to pitch your idea, and how to locate angel investors. Join me live on EP Radio TV and Tumpani TV. What's your superpower? Let's discuss it.
The greatest wealth is health. The only dedicated channel that shows your favorite health shows, documentaries, movies, not leaving the kids with their favorite cartoons is Tumpani TV. You can watch all these on 2C TV anywhere, anytime. Just download the 2C TV app on Play Store and App Store on your mobile device today and enjoy all the action on Tumpani TV. Be happy because of good health on Tumpani TV. 2C TV. Absolute freedom.
All right, so welcome back. A pleasure to have you over there. This is Hard Talk, and my name is Kofi Asante Mensah. Like I told you, my guest is the National Director for IT for the Opposition National Democratic Congress. His name is Mr. Kwame Osei Griffiths. Sir, it's good to have you.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. You're looking good?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Why are you on the street demonstrating about the voters register?
Well, because we believe that the Ghana does not need a new register at this time, especially with just about 10 months going into an election. There's no time, there's no money, because just in December of 2019, the electoral commissioners, 4 of them, all said that the register was credible. So why do you change something that is credible?
Has the register been credible? You've been in power and you have done new voter register. True or false?
Yes, that was in 2012. Yeah.
That's right. Was it credible by then?
At that time, that was the reason why we had to do biometric register. And it was actually those who were asking for a voters register were the then candidate Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the New Patriotic Party. Their reason was that they wanted to cure these periodic changes of the register every 8 to 10 years, because picking a biometric register with a fingerprint modality was permanent, and that even if the register had deceased people on the register, it couldn't be verified for elections, so it would mean nothing. So these were the arguments they made, and institutions that supported them was the Dankwa Institute, which was then headed by Gabi Ochenaku, and then also IEA, which was headed by the current electoral commissioner. So
Mensah.
interestingly, she actually pushed for the biometric register because, you know, she thought that it was going to cure this periodic change. But here we are.
But relating to the explanation and what they have offered the country, reasons why they need this new voter register, you seem not to be satisfied with it.
Not at all, because they don't make sense. The reason why I'm saying that is that initially they realized they couldn't attack the register itself because the credibility is not in doubt. This is a register that has the blessing of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, the New Patriotic Party through Abu Ramadan, you know, took this same register to the Supreme Court and leveled so many allegations against the register. The only thing that stuck with the Supreme Court was that the NHIA cards could not have been used to register. So the Supreme Court gave 3 interim orders. One, that the list of all those people who registered with NHIA cards should be brought to them. 2, there should be a way to delete all of them from the register. EC should give them how they would ensure that they are all deleted from the register. And then 3, they said that people broke no law because they registered under a CI, which was a current law at that time. And since the Supreme Court has subsequently made that law, nullified that law, it does not mean that at the time they were registering, they
broke any law.
Yeah, exactly. So they should be given the opportunity to re-register. So, and then after that, the Supreme Court says once these 3 interim orders are obeyed, are carried through, the register is deemed clean. So it has the blessing of the Supreme Court. So now they are attacking their own system. And so far, the reasons they have given don't really measure up because they are not the only technical people in this country. You know, they have communicated through 3 important documents. One, they gave a technical document out, which sought to claim that they needed to recapture because they needed some photos that will be used for facial recognition. We made the argument that those photos that they captured were good enough for facial recognition. Even CCTV photos are used for facial recognition. How much more one that you capture with a controlled background? So those were good for facial recognition. We made that argument. They subsequently changed their position from, you know, the photos to the fact that facial recognition could not be added to their current system because of internal system architecture. That is even more laughable because they port the data from their main system onto the BVDs with the photos as part of it. So you just need to get a BVD that will carry out the facial recognition. The photo is already on there. So, and they keep shifting positions. So far, they have said that their main operating system, Linux 5.8, is out of support. Linux is no longer, Red Hat Linux is no longer supporting. But I also have with me, and in fact, I have a copy here from the Red Hat Linux office. And I would share that with you. You know, release dates of Red Hat. This is it.
Okay.
This is the release dates, and you realize that here it says Red Hat Enterprise Linux release dates, right?
Yes.
It tells you, if you go to this page, you realize that 5.8 was released in 2012, and Red Hat supports them for 10 years. So if they will have any issues, it will be from 2022. So it means that they are not telling Ghanaians the truth. In fact, there are so many other things I can talk about here. If you have time, if you have a few hours, you know,
wow.
There's a lot of things, and I have done.
But Mr.Osei Kwame
Yes.
Griffiths, tell me, why would a government or a president or an EC boss be bent on changing a register like this? What would be the what would be behind the reasons beyond what they have given us to change a register like this?
Well, either because they want to manipulate the new one they are trying to create, or 2, they have some business interest in the procurement they are making, because their prices also don't make sense. You know, the prices, the costing they are giving so far are too high. They are too high. I'll give you an example. For their BVRs, they are saying that they had a quote from a vendor that had quoted $5,000, and that they have found, you know, they've done their own market survey, and they know that it's going to cost us $3,500. But Nigeria just bought some for $1,770. Zimbabwe bought their their BVRs for $1,300. So what they are saying is too high. You know, the fact that you have one vendor who has given you a quote, that does not become the gospel. And you don't organize all your activities and procurement around that quote that was given to you by a single vendor. You understand? Because there are international, you know, institutions that are making these procurements, you know, day in and day out. You know, so the pricing is also a big factor. And even what is even more relevant in our conversation is that the structure of our contract we signed was that we had a company, which was a company that was playing in our economy already. And he had subcontracted 2 Dutch companies, HSB and Jenkins. And they put this solution together. And but the main integrator was the company that was here with us here. Subsequently, you have abrogated your contract since 2018 with this company that is here with us. That frees the 2 Dutch companies. And the interesting thing is that the solution was put together, hardware, software, but the 2 Dutch companies, and they are willing to work with us for much, much cheaper prices than what the EC is calling out there. In fact, they are even willing to have a trade-in agreement with that, where we will give them our our BVRs, and then swap it for a new one and pay just the top-up. And that will save the country a lot of money. So if the EC is serious about saving the country money, that is what we should be looking at. Not, you know, what they are talking about, doing new procurement and throwing away. But by the way, you should also note that the BVRs, we have quite a good number of them in stock that are working. In fact, the last time...
And do you have that in evidence? Because they tell us they are all broken down, maybe some few.
Well, whatever I am saying here is coming from the Electoral Commission. One, when they were going for the...
Did they put a number to it?
Yes,
as
they
to
did.
Those working?
At IPAC, they said that they had refurbished 1,600 BVRs.
Okay.
And then they had also refurbished 59,000 BVDs. And that added to the few that were there that didn't need to be refurbished, they had a total of 62,000 BVDs. Now, here's the thing. You are looking for 8,000 BVRs. BVRs, there's a lot more that can be refurbished, by the way. For the BVDs, they have done all that they can do. Cannibalization of some to fix some. And they have gotten 62,000 that are in good condition. And that was what was used for the just ended district level elections. Now, so if you have 62,000 BVDs and you are looking for 80,000 BVDs, does it really make sense to throw away all the 62,000 working BVDs and say you want to go to buy 80,000 fresh BVDs? It doesn't make any sense. That is not how you save the country money. I don't care what prices you are buying it. But at least, if you are looking for 80,000 and you have 62,000, you just have to buy 18,000 to add to it, and then you are good to go. You see, so these are some of the lies that the EC is peddling, and so far, they have managed to avoid any public debate on these matters. You go to several of the stations, and all they say is that, no, if the political parties are coming, we are not coming. They just want to go and sit there, spew their lies, and then go away, you know. And with the hope that, you know, we won't have the opportunity to... Tomorrow they are going to meet the National House of Chiefs. We are going there. As soon as they finish their presentation, I also have a counter presentation, you know, which I have done with all the issues they have raised. And I have taken the issues one after the other and answered them slide by slide. They are here.
Okay, let's go through that.
This is what we presented yesterday, actually. You know, understanding why Ghana doesn't need a new voters register for the 2020. You haven't seen a copy of this. It's all over social media.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, we have looked at the credible, whether the voters register is credible or not according to the EC. You know, I've talked about the fact that they themselves said it is credible. So why throw away something that is credible? I have also looked at, and if you look at this, they talk about, you know, a criteria that a voters register must satisfy. And we have proved that they satisfy all the criteria there. So legitimacy of the electoral process. So far we have had 5 elections, and these have all been legitimately elected people in the country. Voter can only vote once because of the biometric nature. According to the EC, that is what makes a register credible. Our register satisfied that condition. It says it should prevent electoral fraud. We have used it since 2012, and there hasn't been any proven case of electoral fraud with the register. So these are, we've gone through a lot of, and then the history of the register, how it came about, the fact that it was from the Dankwa Institute and IEA, and their reasons were that we don't need to change them again since we go biometric. And IEA at that time was led by Mrs. Jane Mensah, who is now the Electoral Commissioner. So how could you have had a position before going into this biometric registration that there is no need to change it every now and then, and that it is permanent, and that deceased people on the register cannot vote because they can't bring their biometrics? And all of a sudden, you turn around and say, because of these same issues, you want to change the register. You see, so these are the issues that we have with the electoral. In fact, there are several things. When you go down to the BVDs, this is the BVRs. We talk about systems in general, and this is important. This part is important. So the transmit results from district to the national. That's what the VSAT is all about. Okay. And what it does is that those who go in to go and register, and this is as a result of a Supreme Court ruling, Ten Adi versus the Electoral Commission, where he claimed that he wasn't in a country and therefore couldn't have registered during the period, but he's still eligible and should be given the opportunity to register, whether we are within registration season or not. And the Supreme Court thought it was, prudent for him to be granted that permission. So they opened it up for continuous registration. So continuous registration happened in such a way that people could just go into EC office and go and register. So the system was put in place, the online system, so that when you register, the data comes into the national database. And also they use it to transmit the registry after they do mass registration. Okay. No, if the number of people they have registered with their data, they transmit it through that link. Okay. Now, Ghana is not the only country that has used VSAT technology. CNN uses VSAT to transmit videos, very heavy files, from all over the world to wherever they want to send it to. So, if you think that it is not good for you, you can change it. You see, it's just like saying you have a flat tire, your car tire. You have a problem with your car tire, that you want to discard the car because of that. That's exactly the argument the Electoral Commission is making now. So these are the things that we keep saying that no, you can't do things that way. You don't throw away every part of the system because, for example, if your vehicle's air conditioning is not working, you fix it, right? You don't throw away the entire vehicle, And so we have actually made some alternative, solutions available to the EC to consider. That has to do with upgrades, that has to do with trade-ins that they could do, and that will indeed save the nation a lot of money. In fact, if they go by what we are saying, they will save more money in 2020 election than they have ever saved in the history of the Electoral Commission. Because what we are recommending, it's not a money solution. You see, I don't know why the EC thinks that every IT problem has to be solved with procurement. No, it doesn't work that way. You can keep systems going and going and going by fixing them, upgrading them, and that's how it's supposed to be.
That's amazing. When I'm back, I'm going to interrogate Mr. Kwame Osei Griffiths more, because the EC is really bent on doing this. What will be the action? Because you can meet the chiefs, you can go on the streets and demonstrate. Maybe you have to go to court to stop them. Do they have that option? Are they planning to do that? We'll find out just after this commercial break.
Research has shown that nearly half of the world's workforce comprises of women. So it is time, it is needed, it is my calling. World Women in Business show is created to inspire, to empower women to be financially free, to be bold, to be creative, to be daring. One of my greatest challenges is the battle against poverty. Fear of success, fear of rejection, fear of failure. Now I understand it's necessary. Necessary to be different, necessary to be unique. My mission is to empower over 1 million women to discover their purpose, pursue their dreams, and live their destiny. This is why you have to join Queen Favor and my special guests as we discuss capacity building, financial emancipation, financial evangelism, confidence, creativity in business, how to pitch your idea, and how to locate angel investors. Join me live on EP Radio TV and Tumpani TV. What's your superpower? Let's discuss it.
Strength of a woman. Strength of a woman.
The greatest wealth is health. The only dedicated channel that shows your favorite health shows, documentaries, movies, not leaving the kids with their favorite cartoons is Tumpani TV. You can watch all these on 2C TV anywhere, anytime. Just download the 2C TV app on Play Store and App Store on your mobile device today and enjoy all the action on Tumpani TV. Be happy because of good health on Tumpani TV. 2C TV. Absolute freedom.
Welcome back. It's still Hard Talk here on EP Radio Television. We are also live on Tumpani TV, also on GoTV channel 821. You can also download our mobile app, and it is at 2C TV. My name is Kofi Asante, and this is Hard Talk. My guest is Mr.Osei Kwame Griffiths, the National Director for IT for the Opposition National Democratic Congress, and we are still talking about the new voter register. They are bent on doing this. Are you ready to go through with them and stop them?
Well, here's the thing. I don't believe they have the time to do it, to be honest with you, because at IPAC...
We have about 10 months before we go for elections.
Yes, but nobody, that would be the first time any nation has installed systems and registered biometrically.
They said the register will be ready in November.
November 8th, that's what they're saying. November 8th itself is a problem because you need to get transfer lists ready 42 days before elections. These are the laws. So the laws are not on their side. You need to get the special voters list, which include journalists. Journalists will have to go, the security agencies will have to go. So the special voters list has to be ready 42 days.
They know it. They say they can do it.
Well, it's what they know and what they want to do is different from the position of the law. Now I'm talking about the position of the law. The law does not allow them to do that. That is number one. Number two.
So why don't you take them to court if they
well,
are...
I believe it is not just an NDC problem.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure lawyers are looking at it. There's a legal committee, a legal team. NDC has a very efficient legal team. And then I'm sure they are looking at all these things, especially since the date came out that November 8th, they would have the register ready. So they are looking at it. But however, every Ghanaian can take this issue to court. Because, listen, if we have issues, for example, let me give you the 2012 example.
Okay.
The EC keeps saying that, oh, we have done register in an election year before, and we did that in 2012. That's not correct. It's not correct. The activity of registration happened in 2012. That's fine. That activity happened in 2012. But the procurement and everything happened in 2011. The systems were installed in 2011. Pilot was done in 2011. And as they piloted the system, they realized that there were issues. Some of the equipment had to be changed. So they did actually make a lot of changes during the piloting. But was that a good example? No, it wasn't. That is the reason why we had to vote 2 times in 2 days. Elections were held on the second day because of that. And the reason why it is so is that in systems development, you have to make room for unknown unknowns. Things that you don't know would happen, you know, and it will only happen as you are rolling out the system. During implementation of the system that you realize that, you know what, oh my God, you know what, this is not working. So what do? Then you find remedies to it. In 2012 general elections, we realized that whilst they thought the verification machines had an autonomy of about 5 hours or more, and therefore they could have 2 of the batteries there per device, you know, they realized that when you go to the north, where the weather is very hot, the autonomy was just 2 hours. So within 4 hours, they ran through all their 2 batteries, and there was a problem of verification. So you realize that it became a big issue where they have to look for machines from other places, get some from the south to the north and all those things. And a lot of people could not vote. And it took the wisdom of Dr. Afarijan, who came in to say, you know what, if you are not able to vote, and we know it's the legitimate thing, we would give you a second opportunity to vote the next day. Now, even that, I can assure you, if this had happened in some other African country, there is issues would have been, we would have had a very serious problem on our hands, you know. So it is the 2012 one, where procurement and everything and the systems were designed in 2011, is even not a good example to go by, you know, this time. But here we are in February. January is gone. December is not part of the equation because it's December 7th, which means that you have 10 months left. Now, with this 10 months, are you able to buy systems and install, pilot, and then go in for mass registration, bring the data to Accra, you know, do deduplication?
Mr. They say they can do it. How can we stop them?
Well, first of all, the credibility of the current Electoral Commission is in doubt as to what they say they can do and what we believe they cannot do.
How?
And I'll give you reasons.
Okay.
They have been wrong on every issue we have warned them. One, they said that during the limited registration for the district level election, they said that they could do it with just 270 centers across the country, and that they were going to use only the district offices and they will use the online system to do it. We told them that the online system is designed for just continuous registration and it's not meant for mass registration, and that if they do that, the system will struggle, it won't work. They told us they were right, when in fact they told us they were right. The same political parties supporting them were on their side. The same political parties saying that this time around they are wrong were also against what they were doing. At the end of the day, when we started, there was a massive failure of the online registration system, which led to them quickly refurbishing about 1,600 of the BVRs, which they say is obsolete, sending them to the field. And lo and behold, out of the 1.2 million that was registered, 93% of them was registered with the obsolete machines.
Number two,
they also said that only the centers, we told them that they will have confusion on election day, because somebody is living in Baboy. He would need to travel about 3 hours
to get to the district office.
Yes. And you are putting a premium on his right to vote. Well, if he doesn't have money to travel, let's say it will cost him 20 cedis, he can't afford the time and money, he won't go and do it. It is that reason why the centers of registration are within some close proximities to the people. And election day, there were some issues with that. But it turned out that there were, from statistical service, there were 1.7 million people who needed to be registered, only 1.2 million registered. But let me even talk about the figures. That too, they were wrong. That's the third point. The third point is that they said they were projected to register 300,000 people.
Okay.
And we told them that, you see, that is not, you just don't come up with that figure as a commission. You write to the statistical service, an institution that is mandated, you know, with knowledge and authority to give you that figure.
Okay.
When we went to statistical service told us that there were actually 1.7 million people to be registered. When we sent the figure to Electoral Commission then said that, oh, they are changing their figure to 500,000. We told them 500,000 was not the number to be registered. When they went into the field, they themselves realized that, you know what, it looks as if there are a lot more people to be registered. They revised their figure to 700,000. But at the end of the day, they registered 1.2 million people. Now, Electoral Commission patted themselves at the back and said it is due to their PR campaign that has made them register such high figures. You know, PR campaigns cannot make anybody turn 18 overnight. So that cannot be the case. It means they got it wrong. So they got it wrong with the online system they said they will use. They got it wrong with the district centers. They said that's what they were going to use. They got it wrong with the number that they said. Even in exhibition, they got it wrong. There was a process they were supposed to do called the end-of-life processing, data processing, where after you transmit all your data, you are supposed to bring your entire data to your entire workstations, all the BVRs to the center, and then back up every hard drive and put the data in the main database. This is done for any system, whether it is new, old, or whatever. It is done all the time. You needed to do that. They didn't do that. So during exhibition, what did we find out? We found out that you go to a constituency, about 5,000 names were out. This created a problem across the country. Agitations all over the place. People, not very happy with what the EC was doing. This confusion, when we confronted them, they said they had done nothing wrong. Lo and behold, later on, they themselves came. They had to take Elembele to threaten a legal action against them. Then they came up saying that, they realized that there were data stuck on the workstations, and that they said it is because the system is not working well. So because of that, they need to change the system. You understand what I'm saying? So you realize that this EC has been wrong and wrong and wrong.
All right, so it's been wrong and wrong and wrong. Why don't you sit down with the Electoral Commission and iron things out? Well, they call you are not ready to sit down with them?
No, they actually have been avoiding us.
They have been avoiding you?
Yes, so far, every IPAC meeting we have had on the issue of the voters register has been an emergency one. You go in and realize that's what you are going to discuss. It started with the March 27th, 2019, where during the IPAC meeting, somebody just asked a question whether there is an intention to re-register people. The commissioner said yes. In the evening, they issued a statement saying, after extensive deliberation, all parties have agreed, which was wrong. We prompted them. In fact, we held a press conference on that. They had to withdraw that communication. Then on November 25th, they did the same thing. Say emergency IPAC meeting. We went there, and we realized that it was about the voters register. And then we gave our reasons. Then they called another emergency one on the 2nd of December. We went there. We realized their technical people were going to present to us. There and then, we took the issues and answered all of them for them. That's when they said that there was a document available that they will make available to the political parties. All of us requested that document. Consultants advised that we should change the system according to them, and then some quoting they had gotten. Up till now, they haven't given us a document. And now they go about, engaging as if they are doing a new register. When in actual fact, IPAC has not really concluded on the matter because everybody was waiting for that document.
Am I getting a sense that you, as a person leading the NDC IT department, you are more or less afraid of Anoche? Let me just put it that blunt.
Oh, no, not at all. It's not a contest between me and Anoche. It is not at all. It has never been a contest.
But it looks like that.
No, not at all. First of all, the allegations that are out there in the name of Anoche has to do with the fact that they say it's been alleged that he more or less compromised the transmission system. It's separate from the voting system.
Okay.
I believe very strongly that once you are on the ground and very vigilant, nobody can even if the wife of the president is the electoral commissioner, it makes no difference. You understand what I'm saying?
So what was the next line of action? You would demonstrate, you would explain to chiefs and diplomatic corps, etc. What's next? They are still going ahead.
Well, they say they are going ahead. We have done a presentation, even though we had just about 15 minutes to present to the Eminent Advisory Committee.
Okay.
And it was important to note that, one, the Eminent Advisory Committee is very prominent people in this country, who have served and done their bit for this country, put together by the Electoral Commission to advise them on matters like this, which direction to go. It is also important to note that since they put the Eminent Advisory Committee together, the Eminent Advisory Committee, upon receiving petitions from us, have called the EC into a meeting. And at that meeting, after they met with the EC, they communicated to all of us that we should freeze whatever we are doing. And then they are going to call subsequently an IPAC meeting, to discuss these matters. It is also important to note that since they told everybody that we should freeze this everything, the EC has gone ahead and signed the data center contract. They have gone ahead and signed the MTN, data transmission contract, the wide area network.
The advisory never stopped the EC not to continue the activities. They asked the parties to hold on for inter-party dialogue.
They advise everybody. In fact, I am even reliably informed that at the second meeting where IPAC came in, they held an initial closed-door meeting with the EC and made it clear to them that what they did was wrong.
You mean the advisory?
Yes.
Okay.
And subsequently, after the presentations we made to them, and it's important to note that while the EC had 2 hours to present, we had just 15 minutes too. But with the little we had and the information we put out, we were able to make them aware that there's a problem. There's a problem, especially with the facial recognition the Electoral Commission said they are going for.
Mr. Kwame, because you tell me they have signed with MTN, have signed with this, and it means they are continuing. What are you going to do?
Well, that is the data center environment. It's just putting together ACs and what have you and rack space for people to install servers and what have you. It's not really the system itself. So the system has not been signed yet, and we are in February. And that is where the problem is. And even the system, the advisory committee has advised that we should sit together as technical people and then come up with a solution that is good for the nation, which means they are not convinced that what the EC is doing is the right thing, And especially, when I had the chance to present, I made them aware that nowhere in the world has facial recognition been used for verification to an election. Nowhere in the world. When they asked the EC lead consultant, IT consultant, he said Somalia. And then they asked him to mention another country. It is only Somalia he could mention. By the way, Somalia's president was elected by 328 people. 328. Not even 400 people. How can that be an example that you want to take this country because they have done it? You want us to do the same thing. Even their entire parliament, both lower chamber and upper chamber, were elected by 14,025 people. These are clan heads that were appointed. So how can you say that because they have used a certain technology, we have about 14 million people voting in our election, we should go the same route? When there are several articles about the inaccuracy of facial recognition and the fact that it will make your queues very long because even the times that it will work, it will not work on the first trial. Most of the time. Take your phone. How many times does your facial recognition work? Just once. You try it, it says no. Sometimes you have to put in the password for you to enter your own phone. So it tells you how inaccurate this system is, the sort of failure rate that you have, and that people will try and try and try. Somebody may try even 8 to 10 times before he gets through. So all that time, yes, there are people waiting in queue too. So it is not the technology that is used for an election. Yet the EC...
Kwame, let's settle this. What are you afraid of? Because your party in government brought Charlotte Osei as EC boss. Apparently, when we finished the 2016 election, Charlotte, the EC boss you brought, let me put it that way, went ahead to announce Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the opposition party leader or flag bearer, as president of the republic. Ghanaians have resoundingly voted for Nana Addo. Now we are about 3 years in office of this administration. Within the first 1 year, 2 years, etc., they brought a new person for the Electoral Commission.
Right.
We are going into 2020 election.
Right.
Are you not convinced that the same Ghanaians, per the performance of this government, would vote against the government for you to come back to power, or would vote for the government to continue, and they would decide?
Well, here's the thing. Dr. Charlotte Osei conducted herself very professionally. So we can't even compare her tenure of office to what is happening here. Dr. Charlotte Osei, when the eminent advisory committee, when she put together a committee of eminent Ghanaians, there was live coverage. Today, as I say to you, the EC is avoiding us. All platforms, they are avoiding us.
Why?
Yeah, because they know that we will deal with them. We will finish them. So the The issue here is that they are avoiding us. When you go to platforms, they say, oh, if the NDC is coming, we are not going. And I challenge them now to come to some of these encounters.
Engagement, okay.
Yes, let us sit down and debate if you have the right thing to do. Look at the Eminent Advisory Committee meeting. They didn't come. They didn't allow media men to come. They didn't allow media men to come. When we insisted. But let me tell you, another thing that makes us very uncomfortable, there are two things. One, incompetence. They have demonstrated that they are not on top of their issues. And I gave you examples where they have been wrong.
No, they organized the by-election for Ayawaso. Successful. New MP was elected. They organized the district level election. Successful.
Yes, but the Ayawaso West Wagon, we know what happened. We can't link it to the EC, but at least they could be honest about what happened. When Kodio's report was indicating that there were skirmishes in the polling stations, they were saying, no, there was no wrong, it was free and fair. Can you call that election free and fair? You see, that is a level of biasness coming from the current Electoral Commission. Again, let me also tell you about a whole deputy commissioner, Dr. Bosman, saying that NDC, the main opposition party, is a threat to Ghana's democracy. How can you make such pronouncements?
True or false?
Well, how can you say NDC is a threat to Ghana's democracy when you know that it is rather the MPP who has done the stolen verdict, it is rather the MPP who has poured people in the street, go ahead to announce the various elections when the EC is supposed to be the one who calls the elections. It is rather the MPP who took us on this needless Supreme Court, 8 to 12 months Supreme Court this thing, when they know they had failed woefully. You understand? In any case, if you know you have won an election with over 1 million... But
it's also important to note that all transformation, I must say, from the electoral body of our country has come from the NPP pushing you whenever you're in government, or pushing for some transformation from opaque to, from black and white to color, from... Won't you accept that?
No, not necessarily. I mean, we have also led a lot of these transformations. First of all, the wisdom of Dr. Kojo Afarijan to put together the IPAC, in the early days, and it became even more necessary because the NPP had boycotted their parliamentary elections. That's never happened in this country, So they had boycotted the parliamentary elections, and therefore he thought that he should create some avenue for them to have a say, at least, in the electoral process, so that they can be confidently partake in the 2000 and those days it was 1996 elections. So the IPAC was put together, and since then the IPAC is the one who has the advisory group that has championed transparent ballot boxes, the changing of the photos from black and white to color. In fact, they, under their tenure, changed it from color to black and white in 2004. So they haven't always improved it. Sometimes they have downgraded it. The important thing to note is that, like I said earlier, this biometric started with them and their candidate, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo then. And the reasons they gave were that they were going to have, it should be permanent and never changed. And then that even deceased people on the register cannot vote. So these were the reasons they gave. And it is also important to know that these are the same reasons they are using as allegation against the current register.
What would make you back down on your fight for your fight to stop the Electoral Commission from compiling new voter register?
When they decide not to do the register, because we believe that it will plunge this country into some chaos. We will go down this road, and somewhere in July we realize that they have messed up. Just like the NIA said in 15 September 2017, that the president has, more or less declared the system ready to go and held his card up and said 12 months from now, every Ghanaian is going to get their card. As we speak now, we are in about 3 years down the lane, and they have just issued less than 4 million cards. They've registered about 7.3 million. Going into it, they were very confident. They were very, very confident that they were going to do it in 12 months. Just like these EC people were confident. And by the way, the sort of expertise in biometrics that exists in NIA is about 100 times more what exists in the Electoral Commission,
Mm.
because the NIA, that is all they do. The Electoral Commission is managing elections, but because of the existence of a credible identity management system, they are also managing identity management as part of their job, which is not really in the normal
core
practice.
job, yeah.
Exactly. So the expertise in NIA is much, much more. You know, it's just because of their ignorance of the technology. That is why they strongly believe. You see, and most of these institutions, they take advice from the vendors. These vendors have business interests. Even their IT consultant has a business interest because he's a consultant for the EC on the project. And he is the one who is advising the EC and is on all media platforms and avoiding us, you know, on the various media
So
platforms.
basically, if the EC goes ahead, you are ready, you are lacing your
The
boots.
EC will not be going ahead. I am very confident that it will not be. The reason why I'm saying that is that it will dawn on them that they don't have the time. And if they start, they will be humbled by the challenges that would come their way. I'm very confident about that.
Let's finish up and talk about the performance of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo since he got into government or ascended the throne. How would you rate him?
I think he has failed. I believe he has failed so miserably. And I think that I would think he should do his party a favor and not contest. Because you know, in this information age, everything is available. All the promises he made are available. And, you know, even his flagship program needs serious improvement. You know, we as a party, we have said that when we come, we would improve it and make it truly free, you know, because the free has a lot of baggages with it. You understand? It is free, but it has a lot of baggages with it. You can't send somebody to a day school when the person has no relatives in Takoradi and you expect him to go there. This traffic light system, you know, where people stay home for 3 months or 2 months, it's not really helping.
Who has managed the public purse very well? Let's talk about corruption in the system.
Well, here's the thing. This is really not my mandate, but let me do the best I can.
Okay.
The loans and the sort of revenue available, you know, almost quadrupled the oil revenue before we left office, and it was all going to kick in during their time. The sort of loans that they have taken, what do they have to show? At least during JM's time, people who point to the fact that he has a plan and he is delivering massively on infrastructure. You understand? And by the way, this is the same people who said that he was borrowing for consumption. You know, even though most of the tangibles that he did were there for everybody to see. But what have they done? They are totally borrowing for consumption. There's nothing to show. How many hospitals have they built? We still have a lot of hospitals we have built that they can't even commission because they can't staff those hospitals. Built, ready to go. But because they can't staff those hospitals and their nurses, they're unemployed. You understand? So
Did JM receive money from the Airbus people?
no, nothing like that. First of all, let me say this. Their ruling, the little I have heard, I haven't heard much about it.
Okay.
But the little I have heard has nothing to do with JM. You see, when you have a government whose back is against the wall, and they are so desperately trying to change the conversation, then they do tricks like that. This is just, you are in the media. It's just recycling, you know, your bad news from the media. So you take this and then you take it as a serious government at this time going into an election. And then there's a ruling that, and nowhere in the ruling did they even say there was bribery. They said somebody was an intermediary. And that intermediary, how the intermediary was procured was their issue. You understand? But the fact is that the person was actually given the assignment as their intermediary or whatever, you know, interfacing with whoever that they were interfacing with. I don't have much knowledge about that. You understand? Yeah. And they didn't talk about bribery per se as the person was bribed. No, received monies because he was engaged in a certain activity. But the questioning was on the sort of procurement they went through to engage that person. So they have turned the thing upside down, just like they did in 2016. They lied their way through into office. So these are liars. You understand? This is a president that has failed. I have never seen throughout my adult life any government become so unpopular in such a short time. You go to even his own region, a lot of people are very upset. Very, very upset. He went there and said, oh, they say when I come, I'm coming to stop Galamsey. I am rather coming to, improve upon it and make it good for you people. He came to stop it. Good. It's good for the weather, right? I mean, for our environment, right? Good. But you see, the principle here is wrong. You deceive the people into voting for you. You came and you say you have a dam per village. And then your own person that is responsible for the dam say, how much money are they paying for the dam? Isn't it as if he is working for a different government? So I'm asking, is that an appointee of Nana Akufo? Who is he blaming for that? You say, they gave us money, 250,000 Ghana cedis for a dam. So that is the kind of dam we can do for you. If you want to do a good dam, you need at least $2.5 million. As if he is working for a different government. So I was asking myself, is this woman serious? Is she an appointee of the president? Who gave the money? Is it not the same government we are talking about? You understand? So by the person who is leading one village, one dam, her commentary herself tells you that it was some Sakawa thing that they are doing. Just pretending.
A pleasure having you.
Thank you.
When is JM announcing his running mate?
I think that is his his own prerogative. I am sure that very soon at the right time.
His name is Mr. Kwame Osei Griffiths. He happens to be the IT director for the position NDC, explaining to us reasons why the Electoral Commission should stop the new voter register. My name is Kofi Asante Mensah, and a pleasure having you at the back there. We've been live on EP Radio TV, also live on Tumpani TV. If you've been watching us live on Go TV, then you are on channel 821. If you have also downloaded our mobile app, then that is 2CTV. Check us live on our various social media handles, EP Radio TV on all social media handles, but EP Radio TV 2 on Instagram. Thank you very much for being there for us, and this has been Hard Talk. The chameleon changes color to match the earth, but the earth never changes color. Catch you some other time.
It's very, very important that we get a very good response from the government, especially from His Excellency Nana Akufo, because Ghana-Nigeria trade relationship have dated very long time, even before maybe my forefathers was born. So I don't think it's something that we think at this era we can just destroy the relationship that had built for all these years. No, it shouldn't be so.